All right, Coach. I wanted to touch on a few of those guys we didn't get to yesterday that won awards, but the first one being Brandon Revenberg, Most Outstanding O-Lineman. What can you say about his consistency this season and being able to do this again another year, be nominated on that?
I think consistency and Revenberg go together. I mean, he's tough as this, and he's been, I can't even remember when he got inserted in the starting lineup years back. And, you hear about making a draft pick and, oh, that's a 10-year guy. That's kind of the saying, but it doesn't always happen. Well, here's a tangible example of a guy that's been extremely durable, great teammate, works hard. I can't say enough great things. Teammates love him. He's in early, stays late, does all the little things nobody sees, and then he produces on the field. And the other thing that makes him great is he's hard on himself, right? Nobody plays perfect. Nobody's played the perfect game, coached the perfect game. But he's one of those guys that's always striving to be the best version of himself.
And then Stavros Katsantonis comes into this season and really has a breakout year. But what can you say about him and being nominated as the most outstanding Canadian?
The same things that I said earlier as he was inserted in the starting lineup, that he's always been faithful with what he's been given. So, for example, his special teams role in the past, he just produced and took those roles and made the most of it. And then he earned his way onto a dime and a nickel package and produced there. Was thrust into some starting roles in some big games down the stretch due to injury, and he produced there. And then due to an injury again, he got an opportunity. And we just recognized that there was value to have him and Tunde on the field at the same time, and then that gave him more opportunity. So I can just say that you talk about being ready for your opportunity when it presents itself, and then when it comes, do you seize that moment? And that's what he's done. So I'm really not surprised because I see the work he puts in.
Finally, Taylor Powell, what can you say about the poise he conducted himself with this season and coming in as a rookie and to be able to conduct himself the way he did this year?
Yeah, with Taylor, it'd be the same thing that I had echoed earlier in the season. Just things weren't too big for him. He prepared. He was in early. Everybody always wanted to know what changed. What changed now that he's the starter and that sort of thing. And nothing changed. He was in early. He stayed late. He wanted to get better. He was a sponge. He soaked things up. He's a natural leader in the huddle. He wants to be great. He's hard on himself. Is that enough? Is that good? Okay, good.
Great.
All right.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
You touched upon Stavros' next man up mentality. What sort of flexibility, though, when you have a talent like that, does he give you in the second?
Well, I mean, he's absolutely one of our main starters now, one of our 7, and so he does give us that flexibility. But there was more when it was him, and Tunde, and when we have our full complement of people that are healthy. So at this point, he's a vital role. He's one of those key cogs that we're going to need as a piece down the stretch, and we're just looking forward to it.
You were mentioning Rev this year. I mean, not only is he consistent, is center the only position he didn't play at least for a few plays this year? He played one tackle spot. He played both guards.
Mm-hmm.
He might have played the other tackle briefly at the end of a game.
Yeah, he hasn't played center, but he could play center.
Yeah.
He like you said, he popped out to tackle and played there, and obviously he's been a main stalwart there at guard. So he's a versatile player. It's not too big for him. He doesn't back down from any challenge. He'll do whatever it takes for the team, and not as a statement, but just as something that he embodies and something that he's lived. And fortunate for Rev is he had some great linemen that he could learn from when he first entered, and now he is that guy that people are looking at and saying, okay, how is this guy staying in the league? How is he so consistent? What does he do well? So that right there helps the whole O-line and raises the water level for everybody. So his versatility is another piece to his consistency.
Talking about that, the lineage that he follows, part of that is there are some really outgoing guys there.
You think?
Really seriously outgoing.
Yeah.
And Rev wasn't when he arrived at all, but he's much more so now, at least from where we all sit.
Yeah, I think he's got a great personality. He's funny. He's not a center of attention guy, but he likes to mix it up and have fun in the smaller groups. But yeah, he had a pretty boisterous group. When he came in, and they like to have a lot of fun and mix it up and. I think he learned, and at the same time, he kept his authenticity along the way. He doesn't try to be somebody he's not, but at the same time, I think he recognizes that a little fun, a smile here and there, all you can eat sushi out with the boys, and a beer here and there does a lot. That does a lot for you off the field, but it also translates to bonding on the field.
Can I just ask about that core of three interior Canadian guys, and I won't necessarily discuss their backups, but I
Right.
assume they come into it as well.
Mm-hmm.
You've had a lot of flux at tackle over the last at least 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
How much has that been an aid to the fact that it's been like a revolving door almost at tackle?
It just, I think on the O-line, you want to have consistency and an opportunity to gel. And sometimes you're afforded that, sometimes you're not. As you know from being around here, Steve, we just go to the next week. We're no excuses. Yeah, we understand some of the challenges that brings, but then you have to change, maybe a little bit about what you're doing offensively, whether you're keeping it back in a little bit longer, you're chipping with receivers, whatever schematics you got to do to find a way to win that week. So we don't really look at it as, we've garnered some great playing time for the likes of Sarters and Kemps and even Revenberg hopping out there. When we started this year, we had the likes of Van Zyl and Saxelid and Figueroa, and so there's that, and then that's what you plan for, and then you're dealt a different card. So rather than look at it as a glass is half empty, it's like, how about the experience we were able to gain with the guys that had to step in there and play, and I thought they did a good job. There were some key wins along the way with those guys on the football field. And as far as the interior three, they don't like to be mentioned, right? They like to stay out of this scene, but I think it is. They're in the building more, besides the quarterback, they're in the building the most. I'll just say that on our football team. And that's not just it's just something that I see. They're down there, and they spend the time. And, I'm super proud of them. And I know they wouldn't want me to say anything, but I said something.
Why is it important for you to get your starting quarterback as much playing time as you can when the other 5 teams going into the playoffs, comparatively, won't be doing the same?
Yeah, Matt, I think the big thing is I think that's what we do a good job of here is we don't worry about other teams. We do what's best for our football team. And so what's best for our football team is to get Bo out there playing a little bit. Those, again, I don't speak for the other teams, but we need to get some gelling and get some things that we want to see. Maybe there's advancements in some play calling, some checks, and just a little bit more continuity there. So I think it's important for us. Like this game's perfect for us. This is exactly what we need for where we're at right now. So depending on how much he plays and whatnot, we're looking forward to this opportunity to get better as a football team.
And in terms of that gelling, how impressed are you with just the intellect, preparation, execution of the guys who have had to, offensively, offensive line, receivers, who've had, and backs who've all had to understand that, hey, that position has been fluid throughout the season. And, it hasn't been down to them. They've had to adjust to Taylor coming in as a rookie, and then Mac coming back, and then Bo, coming in spot duty in some situations. Like, how impressed are you with the group around that quarterback position?
I would say, I have high expectations. So I think, and that's not in a sit-down statement, that's a build-up, and what do you embody? What do you emphasize every day in your team meetings? What do you say to them on the side? So I'm proud of them, for sure, for understanding how to battle through adversity. But for some of them, they don't know any different. They're just hearing the play call and they run out of the huddle. That's the reality of it, and they're worried about doing their job. But it is different cadence, different chemistry with receivers, different play calls due to the quarterback. Those things do change, and so we do have our base stuff, but then we had the change at coordinator, so that brought about change. And I just it just makes me smile because we're just kind of built for this, and because we prepare for these type of things. But you're your, I guess, preparedness, if you will, gets tested, your foundation gets tested when it actually happens versus talking about it. So yeah, you could say I'm proud and pleased, but I'm not surprised.
And finally, quickly, the journey to a championship doesn't have anything to do with stands being built around a stadium. But have you noticed guys taking notice of, because this stadium's going to look very different than it did in 2021.
Right.
Right, more stands, bigger atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
Have you noticed, is that a carrot for guys? It shouldn't be the carrot, but is that part of it too, them seeing the infrastructure being built around the stadium?
You know, that's an interesting question that I don't have a great answer to. I think if you know, as other people come up here and speak, it'd be something to ask them. You know, I don't know would be my honest answer. You know, you would hope not, but you can't help it. They're building. They're doing it. So I'm not saying that nobody notices it. I can't tell you the effect that it's having on people individually, but I can tell you that there's no mention of it or anything like that. But all of a sudden, it used to be clear sky, and now there's stands. There's definitely a difference.